Happy Hump Day. Yes, we are back with another reaction of the circus. Listen, so I got YouTube playing while I'm moving around, bobbing and weaving, and they're out to dinner. And so, I'm listening to them talk. And Nevaeh said something that I've heard her say time and time again when Blueface is preaching to her, pretty much, basically, trying to help her do the right thing, trying to explain to her and simplify to her things that should already be simple since she is not a first time mother. She is on her second kid. She says, "You trying to make me look like shit. You trying to make me look like shit. You trying to make me, I'll make you look like shit." And as I'm hearing her say this over and over again, not only does that tell me that she is very selfish, more or less like Krishan and, maybe some of the other females that he deals with, but that she really don't give a damn about nobody but Blueface. Her son is at the table watching TV instead of sitting down eating dinner. And he's sitting right next to her. She watching him watch TV while everybody else wolf down food. And I believe another reason why I say she's selfish is because, well, for one, if somebody's trying to tell you something to help you and you tune out, you decide you don't give a damn, you don't want to listen or whatever, then, well, that says a lot about you, right? As kids, we couldn't. Okay, so there is a delay. So yeah, that was my alarm. Sorry about that. So anyway, I listened to her say, "You trying to make me look like shit. You're trying to make me look like shit." So first of all, she recognizes that she looks like shit after the fact. I believe she recognizes she looks like shit when she's doing it, but she chooses to do it anyways. I recognize to do it anyways. I recognize that every time he asks her something or tries to, make sense of something, that she's always quick to give an excuse. And then her son, while they were eating, was rearranging in the booth, and he accidentally kicked her. And she sounded just like a little kid. "Hey, you kicked me. Are you gonna say sorry?" And I'm like, you know what? She still really is a little girl. Now she a grown woman when she in the bedroom, but she still mentally is very much a little kid. She still got the little kid mentality, and a lot of us do. We're playful. We like to have fun. We like to enjoy life, things, happiness, whatever. But it is so unfortunate that she really does not prioritize. And I heard him say last night that she can't agendanize. Bless his soul. Did that nigga graduate high school? Well, yeah, he did graduate high school because he went to college too. But still, he done created up some words, which you have to laugh at. But it's really unfortunate that he say, "I realize that now." Nigga, the whole 5 or 6 years y'all been messing around, you didn't realize you was messing with a dumb bitch. You was just calling her a dumb bitch just to be calling her that. You didn't realize she really was one. She was a bird. Same way with Krishan. He can go back and lay and play and dip with Krishan now because when he was with her, she was very immature. She wanted to be manly, and he said it several times. You know, you want to be a man so bad, woo, 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 woo. You know, always fighting him and hitting on him, and they would go back and forth. But now that she's had the baby, now that she's seen and read, what the internet has told her, and she's look back on it and see how he don't want no manly looking woman. She's probably been a tomboy all her life, but she has pulled herself back a little bit and now knows how to act around him a little better. Now I saw some of her interview with Jason Lee, and as soon as he start asking her about why she keep going back messing with Blueface, putting herself in a position to get in some old trouble, first thing she started doing was crying. Now, Jason, with his messy self, he saw, here come the tears. And she was fighting to hold him back. Girl, that was the spirit. That was your conscience whooping your behind. Because you lie to these people, you play with God all the time. He whooping your that's what's really whooping your ass. God is whooping your ass because you keep playing with him. You keep playing with the Bible. You keep talking like you all holy than now, like you're really getting down in the bunker, securing yourself in the word, and how you gonna follow the word, and ain't nobody gonna knock you off your perch. When the reality is, you lying. You ain't blaspheming, but you lying and you playing with God, and that's hurting you. Now, they said that the investigation into Ronnie Doe's unaliving allegedly is over, and they have questioned her and her family and his family and a lot of people trying to get down to the motive and intent and things of that nature, but there is a lot of word on the curb about that baby's health and his existence and his ability to not be here very long. Apparently, there is a time limit on, you know, on his life. Um, and while Krishan is saying how she's so into the Bible and so into the Word, and she's learning and she's teaching and she's trying to spread the gospel, she is not walking in the Word, and that's still playing with God. But let's go back to the circus, because she gonna mess with Blueface until, you know what I'm saying, until forever. That ain't gonna change. She gonna keep going back and forth because Blueface's way of speech, his mannerism when he talks, is very soothing and very calming at times until you trigger him. So that is kind of what is the word I'm looking for? That is something that most women look for. They want an attentive man that is attentive to her and her feelings, her position, being a gentleman and all of the things. He's really good at that. But apparently, when he get on that shit, he becomes a knucklehead, and then everybody and their mom and daddy become all of these names that they really don't want to be, and it's not a lot you can do about it. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It is very interesting to see Naveah always say you try to make me look like shit, and the fact that she says that openly, and it's like, do you know you look like shit? He's just telling you and asking you, girl, did you graduate high school? I wonder, when you had the baby, did you drop out of school? Did you get your high school diploma? Like, you know, a person can have. book smarts and not have street smarts. A person can have street smarts and not have book smarts. But the one thing about it is when you're blessed to have both, then there is a certain expectation from you. Because to have book smarts and street smarts should mean that you never put yourself in a position to fail. And when you do, that means you ain't using your damn smarts at all. That's just what it boiled down to it. And even though he's sitting there telling her, talking to her, preaching to her, trying to educate her, she's more worried in what it looks like, how she looks, than whether or not what he's saying is right and whether or not this is something that she needs to incorporate in her everyday life. Now, last night I also saw him say, "Well, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna stop saying anything. I'm done." He said, "I ain't gonna say nothing else. I'm tired. Like she ain't listening. She ain't gonna do right." And I thought to myself, "Hmm, you can't not say nothing because who cannot say nothing when the person that you love is doing stupid shit? You cannot not say nothing. You gotta let her know because as mama say, when you touch the heater the first time, you learn from your mistake. You won't do it again. She is not the the person, or she's not using her brain, her mind, her resolution skills, like she should. She's not one of those people when they make a mistake this time, they learn from it, they don't make it again. She is one of those people that make the same mistake over and over and over and over, and she land up in the losing seat over and over and over and over, and doesn't have sense enough to know she's sitting in a losing seat. So when I watch them be happy and cordial and they get along, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to watch. But when he's trying to talk to her and ask her questions to try to make it make sense, I don't like your tone. The man wasn't yelling. He just told you that your child can't take himself to school. You sitting up here throwing all these excuses out why you didn't go to school. That's why I say when you ask a person something and it take them 15 to 20 minutes to give you an answer instead of just saying yes or no, that mean they lying. They trying to figure it out. They trying to make you believe their foolery. You know what I'm saying? And he said the child can't go to school by himself. You supposed to go in there and wake him up and make sure he go to school every morning. But you don't care because you more worried about what Blue is doing and who might pop up while you gone or whatever the thing is. And then she turned around and had the nerve to have his cameraman take her son to school when they said she was in the car riding around with him. And he said that's not their job. That's your job. Then she want to yell and get angry and cuss and fuss. He he even though he tells her right, he is a toxic man. And I believe it could be that dope. Either way, um, the relationship is toxic because the broads he get with, they lose their shit when he's trying to tell them something. And I was even watching yesterday this team of people who have a panel and they talk to women and men about their relationship and how they fit the Bible into their relationship in terms of doing right, doing wrong, what is it that is going on in your relationship that you want to come and talk to us. And they always try to keep the answers Bible oriented. So the lady said she she had told this woman, the woman was saying something about her husband was cheating with a lady at work and that she knew about it and had pictures and videos and put cameras up in the house because she was suspecting that he was coming home bringing the girl to the house and all of the things. And the lady was like, you know, apparently I'm not doing the right thing because it's still happening. And the ladies and gentlemen on the panel were looking at each other, and she was like, "I'm just wondering what should I do." And I thought to myself, does pain make a person's mind weak? Does losing, constantly being on the losing end, does that make a person not be able to add one and one and get two? Because the lady told her, she said, "Well, apparently, whatever you need to do, you don't want to do because you haven't done it yet." And then she said, "Is there any reason why you haven't left?" She said, "Because you run around following him, recording him, taking pictures and doing all the things, putting cameras up in the house or whatever, 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 and you still unhappy and you come to us." She said, "You should have sat down and went to the Bible. You should have sat down and had a conversation with God. Ask God what to do and let him lead your footsteps." She said, "But you know what you need to do. You just don't want to." And I listened to her and listen. Let me tell you something. One thing about it and two things for sure. When the people is talking about the Bible, when the people is talking about the Bible, it's always an interesting conversation as well as an educational conversation because they seem to always remind us you have the power. God gave you common sense. He gave you everything you need to make good decisions, good choices. Now, when it comes to married couples and one half of the team is out there cheating, I can understand without asking why they haven't left. Because when you marry, you say, "I do. I stick with you through thick and thin. I walk through hell and gasoline draws with you. I'm your backbone, you my backbone. We are a team, and we pledge to stay together forever." That's what you pledge when you marry. So there shouldn't be anything that would break you up, separate you, or pull you guys apart. There shouldn't be anything. But you know what? When you are not in tune with God, when you are not in tune with the Bible, when you are not taking your troubles to God, to the altar, and letting Him guide your footsteps, sometimes you stay in a state of confusion. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that because in my marriage, when in all marriages, we have expectations. And when you sit down and communicate, try to conversate, try to work through it, try to figure it out, try to put it together, and y'all talking about it and it don't work, sometimes people just choose to leave because they rather have their peace. And that's something that I wanted. I wanted my peace. When I wanted chaos, I know how to go out and find chaos. But for the most part, I wanted my peace. That was it. I didn't want to, when you got somebody every time we turn around putting these demands on you, being stranger, trying to tell you what you can and can't do. Well, the Bible said that's your husband, that's his right to tell you what you can and can't do. I'm a grown woman, he's a grown man. You don't boss me around. But when you guys jump the broom and you get in marriage, that is how it operates. One thing about it, we was 50-50 from the start to the finish. And then at some point that 50-50 broke and it was more like 90% for me and 10 for him. And that's when my peace got restless. And I was like, Mama said you can do bad by yourself. So if I'm gonna do bad, I'm gonna be by myself. I'm not gonna let no husband, boyfriend, fiance, booty call, none of that shit drag me down. If I'm going down, I'm going down by myself because of myself for something I did or did not do. And what I'm not gonna do is jump on the rope and go down with the boat. I'm not gonna let somebody, grab my coattail and pull me down with them because I choose not to. And everybody don't have that choice. Well, everybody had that choice, but a lot of people don't make that choice, right? But with Naveah, she cannot see the forest for the trees. And now this nigga gonna say, damn, I'm really realizing I had a baby with a bird. But now, why are you staying in it, Blue? You don't got peace. You don't want peace. You want problems. And now you have them absolutely for sure. So she has spoken and talked about when she get back to her weight, what she gonna do. Woo, 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 woo. And he told her, when you do, I'm gonna put your ass out and get another one in. So now she stopped talking about it. But the reality of it is that time is going to come to pass. And as that baby gets older, the more he loved that baby, the more time he spent with that baby, she is going to use that baby to try to hurt him, and it's going to be more chaos. So I say all of that to say this. Don't be selfish. You know what I'm saying? Nevaeh, think about your son and what's best for him, what he needs. I heard him talking about her son talk the way he talk because he been looking at the minions all this time. Well, the minions sound retarded. They sound stupid. And even though he's 4 years old, he sounds like that. It makes him sound like he's special needs. But the little boy really is very smart. He appears to be very intelligent, and his mom has subjected him to a very toxic environment, and she don't give a damn. See, and when we were growing up, our parents would tell us go outside, go in the other room. They didn't allow kids to be in grown folks' conversations, but that's not the case with some of these people today. So she's never been in that environment, so she's never telling him to leave. He's always right dead smack in the heart of their environment, listening to everything they say. And when he gets older, I believe he'll be the one putting his hands on women, even though he don't like how people talk to his mom. But she allows the man to talk to her like that. She allows the man to cheat. She can't stop him, but you don't have to be with him. But she's there for security and stability, whether he marries her or not. Now that he's realizing the 12, 15, or $20,000 that he's given her, then she just, you know, blowing it off. Because when he tried to ask her the other night what she was doing with it, she spent all her time repeating his questions. When the nigga keep repeating every question you ask, come on, they struggling. They mad struggling to try to come up with something that makes sense to the people. They're struggling to formulate, put together something real quick that'll make sense. He asked her, "What are you doing with it?" Huh? What am I doing with it? That you heard him the first time. Are you saving it? No, I'm not saving it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk. Well, what are you doing with it? Now, he's saying, oh, well, the house is looking better. The house looks a little bit better. Okay, I like this. I like this. Yes, Blue, you're raising a child all over again that you done had a baby with. And because the baby is named after you, you feel like you have a special obligation to that child. You're selfish too, because you got three other kids, or at least two that you claim, and you don't seem to give a damn about them at all. We don't see you around them no more. We don't see y'all chilling. We don't see you taking them out, getting together, taking them out. Even though your baby mamas don't like each other, you still have an obligation to take them kids out. And since you and your brothers and sisters don't really hang out and kick it together, then you gonna go have to get your regular ass Carlissa. Yeah, I know I was gonna say something messed up. You're gonna have to go get Carlissa and get her to come and help you with the kids and take them out and spend time together. Don't have your kids feeling like you abandoned them or you left them or you don't love them. That's not fair. So you're being selfish in a way too. And see, when you're not doing right by God, when you're not conversating with God, talking to God, praying to God, letting the Spirit talk to you, hearing the Spirit, and wanting to do better, based on what the spirit is telling you, baby, he'll whoop your ass every time. every single time. And if you're not having a conversation with God, then apparently you don't have a relationship with Him. Because if you ain't talking to Him, and if you ain't praying to Him, and if you ain't listening to Him, how can you call that a relationship? Because when you know better, you do better. If you know better, not doing better, and you're still losing, that speaks volumes. And when the Spirit speaks, it will help you to change if you're standing strong in His Word. I pray all the time. I've cried about a lot of things. The tears don't stop. A lot of times, that is the Spirit reaching after you saying, this is what you get when you don't listen to what I'm trying to tell you. So now every time I'm praying and looking for something and expecting something, I have to think about it. I was like, you know what? That's God telling me He don't want me to do that. And if you do it anyway, then eventually you'll get, what's coming. But I mean, it's you gotta, you really do. You have to listen to the Spirit. You have to try to move in a manner that He's directing you. Because if you're moving in a manner that He's directing you, then everything will fall into place. And Grandma said, baby, when Jesus show up, He shows out. The pastor has told you He may not come when you call, but He's always right on time. And that's the word for today, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Have a good one. And